Ryan Neville here with Nathan Cross here for round 18 of NRRRL action for 2019 between the Byron Bay Red Devils and the Ballina Seagulls. The NRRRL is proudly brought to you by Ladbrokes. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au for all your betting information. Download the app today, gamble responsibly. This is also Kearney versus Line 2. As you can see there, the teams are shaking hands, getting ready for big potential game of football, which no doubt by the end of this afternoon we will know who will be the final five in the NRRRL competition final series for 2019. Let's give you the tale of tape between the two teams for the Byron Bay Red Devils. Mitchell Krause leads on the back line with Kian Laurie. Dan Gibson has come into the side after missing last week. He will prove to be some desperate striking power needed today for Byron Bay Red Devils if they have any chance of beating Ballina today. Here's Penn in the centres with Brad Lees. Terence Crawford is in the back line with Todd Carney, Sean Booth. In the engine room, we have Cole Kennedy, Andrew Batiste, and Dominic Maloney. Lachlan Kennedy and Scott Stapleton in the second row, and Guy Hines locks the scrum. Ben Webber, Dylan Montgomery, Malik Kelly Torrance, and Lloyd Binge are all on the bench. Who do we need to know about the Ballina Seagulls there, Crossy?
Good afternoon, everyone. Lining up at fullback for the Seagulls is Oliver Regan. The wings will be Zach Beecher and Reece Richards. In the centres, we've got Ray Buchanan and Liam Anderson. The halves, it's a strong pairing, Jamie Lyon and Jess Perry. And up front, we've got Michael Coleman and Phil Crosby. Michael Dwayne is at hooker. In the back row of Anthony Coleman, Jack Durham, Hayden Hansen. And off the bench today, we'll see Kel Sheether, Nicholas Ritter, Billy Dwayne, Andrew Brasek, and Jordan Lee. And we are about to get underway here at Red Devil Park.
And Ballina Seagulls, they're running right to left on your screen as we're away for round 18 of action, the final round before the finals. This will be Dylan Montgomery to take the first hit up. Crossy, as I made mention throughout the course of the last couple of months, the past score in the NRRRL is 24 points, and it makes it obvious that the fact that Byron Bay are up on 24 points on differential onto Coogin, Coogin. So it's going to be no doubt proven that Byron Bay that they don't want to have the supporters whip out the calculators if they're going to concede by more than 24 today.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. You've spoken about that during the year, around 24 being that magic number as far as points go. So here we are, Red Devil Park, last round of the season proper, and the Bay have got to have a win here today, or at least don't go down by 24 points or more. So as we see, Richards take a good turn.
Big, nice take there by Richards. He's proven to be very, very comfortable with that high ball as he's been proven the last few weeks. And this is going to be nicely taken the tackle there by Kyle Kennedy. And just an early score update. And Moolumbar up 6-0 against Mullumbimby, of course. If Moolumbar do get the win against Mullumbimby today, they will host Casino. Them two are playing no matter what next Sunday, but that is more so for the hosting rights. And, of course, we'll give you updates of the Coogin Tweed Coast game as well.
We've had a pretty physical start here, Dwayne, which is what we expect, local derby. And as we see Jamie Lyon get a nice kick away, that could be a 40-20.
And potential 40-20 kick there for Jamie Lyon, and we'll see if that is eventuated. Don't think so. I think there's now going to be a scrum feed for the Byron Bay about 20 metres away from their own line.
Yeah, just eluded line there by about half a metre. Would have been a 40-20 and put his team on the attack, but wasn't to be on that occasion. But a really strong start from both teams. Showing some good intent. I'm really keen, Dwayne, to see this afternoon how Ballina approach this game. We know that they've got the minor premiership wrapped up.
Absolutely.
And they know that they will therefore have a week off. So they'll be looking for a nice physical encounter today, which they will get from the Bay.
Ballina have unloaded the benches, and this one there has been minimal change on the Ballina Seagulls line, knowing that they've got a grand final qualifier in 2 weeks on home patch already sewn up, that they know that in front of, you can see there the loyal Ballina supporters there on the hill opposite us here, that they know that they want to go in with a full head of steam. And with that being said, they've conceded an early penalty to the Byron Bay Red Devils. Byron Bay will see a set of 6, no doubt about 30 metres out from this kick. So just to give you a bit of where Byron Bay stand at the moment, they're currently in 4th place with an 8-6-1 record. As I made mention, they've got a 24-point differential in their favour, though they have to win today if they're going to start 4th, as Tweed Coast and Coogin are playing at this very minute. This is Batiste. This is Kearney. Kearney gets it into the hands of Lachlan Kennedy. The right set of hands he wants if you get to the barraging run. This will be Batiste. Plays into the hands of Carney. Carney to Kraus. Kraus has been a big try scorer. Into the hands of Keon Laurie. First try to the Byron Bay Red Devils. And that's going to do their for and against some favour at 4-0.
Oh, what a start for the Bay. And it was that man, it was the King Kraus. He got the ball on a tail line there from Carney. I actually thought he might have caught it inside his lead runner, which, you know, at the NRRRL level would be an obstruction, but not to be here. And he just put the big left-hand fend out. Winger came in and he threw that beautiful Matt Gidley type flick pass. And the Bay are over in the corner, 4-0.
Mitchell Kraus, he has just been on an absolute try-scoring streak in the last matter of weeks there, Crossy. You look at it, he's the top try scorer. He's third overall with 13 tries. And just to have a look at the amount of tries that he scored for the season, well, where he scored them. He scored 3 against Evans Head, scored a Mullumbimby on 2 occasions. Once of those was a deuce. Northern United, Evans Head twice, Coogin twice, Casino and Tweed Coast. So he has just gone on an absolute streak, and they need him right and ready if the Byron are to progress into next week's finals.
Yeah, well, I think if we cast our minds back to the round 1 clash between these two teams, you remember it was a really tight game. I think they went in at 6-all at half-time, but Kraus didn't play that day.
No, he didn't.
He's such a potent attacking player, and he's a real heart and soul of this footy team, Kraus. So he's a big in for them today, and if they happen to sort of have a win here today and go through to the semi-finals, he's the sort of guy that can turn this comp on its head.
As Andrew Batiste takes a kick, it's a pretty looking kick for Andrew Batiste. Adds the extras. Thus now making the score 6-0 here at Red Devil Park here in Byron Bay. Proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au for all your betting information. Download the app today. Gamble responsibly there, Crossy. So that's going to be a little bit more breathing space, if nothing else, for Byron Bay. Though Ballina have proven it time and time again, the strike power they possessed. And that's going to absolutely wake up the Seagulls.
Well, like I touched on before, Ballina have wrapped up this minor premiership, so it'd be really interesting to see how they respond here to some early points from the Bay, because, you know, nothing to play for other than to sort of continue that momentum and sort of build confidence for week 2 of the semi-finals. So let's see how they come out in defence here.
So was that Keon Laurie that actually scored the try, was
it?
Yeah.
Correct. So
but it was a good try offset there by Mitchell Kraus, so just got caught in the moment there. So that was Keon Laurie that scored the try. He was he's played a bit of football in the that's his second try for the that's his first try for the campaign this year. Crossy. So they'll be looking for big things from him. He actually played a bit of under 18s Laurie Daly Cup footy this year and last. So
he's a good player, actually. He's a back rower usually, playing on the wing here today. So as we see Batiste jump out of 9.
So Batiste goes for a little hidden spin, brought down there by Zach Beecher, 35 metres out. Byron Red Devils with their tails up. They were unlucky not to get the job done against Moolumbar Mustangs last week. Carney sends that one up. Got some serious heights with It's going to just miss Rhys Richards, but well plucked out there by, I think that was
Regan.
Yeah, Oliver Regan. He's been well, as we can see, that's a penalty given out of the Seagulls. So that was Ollie Regan that was probably the difference between Ballina and Tweed Coast last week. He was just working those high balls, everything that Tweed Coast threw at him. So
what a year he's had, Ollie Regan. Every time we've called him, he's been man of the match or close to, and he's such a good footballer, as we've touched on before. So Ballina now 40 metres out from their own line, getting forward. This forward battle early has been outstanding. The Bay have really come with some intent here today.
So if Byron get this job done, they'll hold on to 4th spot, and they'll be hosting here next Saturday afternoon against either Tweed Coast or Coogin. So this is going to be hit up there. Ballina looking for some big metres early. This is Beecher from dummy half. He's been playing a bit of football there from dummy half as well. He's positioned on the wing, which is not his normal position there, Crossy, but he's been playing a bit of fullback there, like especially as of last week against Tweed Coast.
Yeah, he's just a footballer, isn't he, Beecher? He can sort of play anywhere, play hooker or in the halves. He's just a real goer, so you can see he's sort of in a dummy half there now.
So Beecher, that was in the hands of Lyon. That's into the hands of Coleman. He's kicked that. It's going potentially could be 6 more here. Let's see what the referee indicates it has. So Byron Bay not off the hook at this point. Lyon from dummy half. This is going to be taken up. I think that's Hayden Hanson, try scorer from last week. So they're about 20 metres out now from the Byron Bay line. This is going to be Beecher. Perry opted for the pass, gone himself. Gets another 10 metres there, so about third tackle now. This is going to be Zach Beecher. This is going to be, that's taken up there by Nicholas Ritter, just shy of the line. Byron Bay's defence is going to have to hold up well to hold Ballina off here. This is going to be Jamie Lyon, goes himself, kicks. And should be batted out there by, that is Ben Webber. Tags that one out, line drop out for the Bay.
Oh, I don't know if Webber had to play at that. I think that was heading out on its own accord. But nevertheless, he played it safe and took it over. So good, strong carry from Ritter through the middle there. I've said it on a number of occasions this year, I'm a big fan of his. He sort of can hold the ball out in front with two hands and keep sort of defenders at bay. And he went through there. He just needed someone pushing up off his hip, but he might get a chance here this set.
So Tweed Raiders are in front after 13 minutes, 10-0 against Coogin. Wollongbar are up 18-0 in their game. So if that's going to stay as it is, that means Wollongbar will host Casino next Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon, whilst Tweed Raiders, I think that, well, at this stage, Byron being in front, so it'll be Tweed. So it's going to be Byron versus Tweed at this stage, but still plenty more minutes to go in this one.
It's going to be a long interesting afternoon, isn't it, with all the, we've got a penalty here.
And penalty conceded into the Ballina Seagulls, so this is not what Byron Bay needed after starting off very well in the first 10 minutes. Byron have won 3 out of their last 5. Despite conceding 20 or more points, they have won the 3 out of the last 5. So they've only kept a single defensive digit. They've only kept a single defensive digit record all year. That was against Evans Head, though they've only been kept to single digits once, but that was against today's opponents against Ballina.
Well, good read there from Lees. You could see Regan was out on the back on that tail line. He come up and in and shut it down. Great defence, Brad Lees.
So this will be played by Beecher. This is Ritter. And Hayden Hanson's absolutely spilled it. And you can just hear the jubilation of the crowd in front of us. And Byron Bay have been let off the hook, and the crowd here know it.
Hanson, he's
normally safe as houses, Hayden Hanson, and normally he scores from in that side of town.
Well, he's another guy that's had a huge year coming down from the coast this year and playing his first season at Ballina. And he's been involved in some of those confrontations early in this game with some big defence from Kennedy and from Montgomery and a few of these guys, Maloney. So he had a bit of a Captain Cook there, Hanson. So, yeah, the Bay are on top here.
So now this is going to be, I think that's going to be the try scorer. That's Tim Pilgrim. No, sorry, that was Keon Laurie. Sorry, Keon, that's twice I've got double broken identity with Keon. So this is going to be Dylan Montgomery.
Got numbers here.
This is going to be Scott Sableton for the run. And that's going to be a nice little hit and spin, but he's going to be brought down there by Reece Richards just inside Ballina's 40. Ballina's defence just at a little bit 6s and 7s at this present time. And Jess Perry off for the tackle there on Mitchell Krause. He goes himself, splits it up, and he's absolutely spilled it there, Mitchell Krause. Going to be picked up there by Jess Perry. And this is now going to be taken up here by, that's going to be, that was Kel Shiva. Kel Shiva was one player that was been missing for a little while for Ballina. So not only have Ballina got a similar lineup to last week, they've actually strengthened it from last week, Crossy. So they don't want to lose this game against Byron, even though the grand final qualifies in the back.
Yeah, that's right. They don't want to go into a week off next week, coming off a loss here today against Byron Bay. That's obviously what they don't want. But it's really hard. I've been in these situations myself, both playing and coaching. It's really hard to sort of get yourself up for these games, knowing that win, lose or draw, you're going to have a week off next week. And so really, in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, I just want to get through injury-free. And sometimes that means you don't play with the same sort of intent as what you sort of would normally. So they're a good side, Ballina. I don't expect them to sort of take things too easy.
And it's slimmed down a bit at the moment. So it's Tweed Coast 10, Coogin 6 at the present time. And there's going to be a knock-on conceded there. So Byron will have another set of 6 inside the Ballina Seagulls half a field.
Gee, they're really up for this, aren't they, the Red Devils? They had a great start. They've forced a couple of errors. We've seen Krause before that error. He just got it one off the ruck, and there was absolutely nothing on. And he turned sort of something that was nothing happening into a half chance. So they're going to have the ball inside the Seagulls half here, and let's see what they can come up with.
So if Byron Bay was, at this stage, just looking like slightly unlucky that if they miss out on the finals, Crossy, they've won 6 out of their last 8, but though in the first 5, like before that, they only claimed 1 point in 5 games, and that point was against Coogin, and a game they should have won, really. They were winning 26. They were up by 16 points with 10 to go, and it was literally just the final kick of the conversion of the game, and Coogin managed to get the 1 point, and that 1 point could prove, well, pivotal for either team today. And as we could see there, a knock on there by, I think that was Dan Gibson.
Yeah, that was Gibson. That was one of those 50-50 ones where I think Jess Perry was trying to get him on a one-on-one, and Gibson may have even let go of the ball, trying to sort of milk a penalty or something there. But nevertheless, not to be for the Bay on that occasion. So, but gee, they're playing with some real positivity. So yeah, they're in for a good afternoon here.
And also the other game I should mention that where Byron were unlucky, they had a big lead against Mullumbimby at this very ground, and you can see their penalty given to the Seagulls. They had a big lead against Mullumbimby, one that they really shouldn't have lost. So that's 3 points that Byron could have. So that would put it, given the home final already sewn up. So, but what be, could be, should be, Byron are going to get it done today.
Yeah, they had that bit of a dip, didn't they? And yeah, it's sort of hard. I know they've had some issues here with the new point system in relation to what players are worth and who can play, guys being unavailable. Obviously, captain coach Todd Carney comes with 600 points, so they sort of get to their 2,000 fairly quickly when you've got an ex-NRL player in the fold. So they've had their challenges with their roster this year, the Bay, but gee, it's a strong forward pack they've put out there this afternoon.
So this is Perry into the hands. That's gone into, I think that's Anthony Coleman. So 30 metres out now from the Byron line. Ballina. Sometimes, like, although they've started quick on most occasions, sometimes they just click in the first, second, third gear, and it takes that bit of time, and it's starting to look a bit more pretty for him. And this play, that's Nicholas Ritter just short of the line.
They've got to go right.
This is fifth and last. This will be played by Beecher. Into the hands of the line. That's going up the centre, and Ballina now on the score sheet. And I think it could come at a price there, Crossy, and this is sort of what I was worried about with Ballina stacking their lineup. I mean, they've done well with the injury on the injury front this year, but it just takes that one game to just throw your line up, and that was a nasty knock to the lower back and could prove costly.
Yeah, so that's Oliver Regan.
Oliver Regan, they do not need him injured before finals at all.
So that came from just a deft inside pass from their skipper in Jamie Lyon. They had the numbers on the outside, and as a defensive left edge there, it's easy for the Bay to be concerned about sort of the overlap and the try in the corner, but Jamie Lyon just too smart. He just played Regan on a little lazy inside play there, and too strong, found his way over on the line. So they're back in business now, the Seagulls. 6-4 with a kick to come.
And by the looks of it there, Crossy, it looks like we'll be off to Moolumbar next Sunday. Moolumbar 24-0 against Mullumbimby, so they should see them at the second no-host casino. So.
Well, that's a classic case of them having to win to host that semi next week, which gives them a lot of incentive to actually go out and play well, which is the opposite of what I've been speaking about here with Ballina. Win, lose or draw, they've got a week off next week. So looks like we'll be off to Moolumbar next Sunday afternoon for that major semi-final.
Yeah, and so what Byron don't need here is, as I said, they've got that cushion of 24 as the kick goes over, and kick is good. Dustin making it 6 apiece here. And it's now Coogin 12, Tweed Coast Raiders 10 up at Coogin. So which basically, if Byron somehow don't, get the job done here, that's probably what they need as a Coogin win. Keeps Tweed Coast on 20, force them out of the final.
I remember, Dwayne, when Byron played Ballina in round one, they front-loaded a lot of their energy, which they've done here again today. They've had a really good start. Oh, here's a mistake with the kickoff.
Oh, could be a Pruley, but I think that's just been knocked back. No. So this can be potentially now a big play. You can see Dan Gibson there applauding against his own ex-teammates there, and he needed to be out there for the Red Devils today.
Yeah, and I was just going to make the point there that they did front-load a lot of their energy in that game, and that they went to half-time and sort of 6-all. But they probably felt like they didn't get enough reward for effort in that game. So at the moment we're 6-all here, and Byron Bay have been the better team, but we've got sort of an equal scoreline. So let's see if the Red Devils can get over here and sort of extend, push into the lead.
Crossy, as I made mention, 24 points is their cushion. This is Carney going up to go himself. He had Mitchell Krause there on his right. All of their losses this year have come when they've conceded 23 or more points, Crossy. So if they're going to lose, they know that that's a number they don't want to get too high. And just off the second phase of play there, is just absolutely knocked on. There is a bit of push and shove, bit of afters. And you'd think with the history between these two teams, and it's actually just carrying on a bit further. Crossy, as I made mention, you'd think with both of these teams in their history, it only took 18 minutes for a bit of push and shove to happen.
It's got fiery, hasn't it? As I said at the start, the Red Devils come out with plenty of intent, and their defence in that first sort of 10-15 minutes was outstanding. Some really strong contact. Now Ballina, they've awoken. They've had enough. I think that might have been the big Englishman, Brassic, who took offence there to some sort of afters. So, yeah, no love lost between these two teams, and interesting to see what the referee calls here.
Byron have scored 26 or more points in every game since their last game against Ballina, and have only failed to do so on 4 occasions this year. So points are there for Byron to get to keep this cushion of 24 points. Though at the moment, if Kudrin in front, the calculators will not be required by about 4:30 this afternoon, Crossy.
No, that's right. It'll sort of just work itself out, won't it? So we've actually got Michael Dwayne here, started off the bench here today, Nev. And
very interesting.
Yeah, so he's now holding the card. So he's going to go on and get into the fray now. And it looks like Todd Carney's limping from the field here. He's got a sort of that look on his face, that frustration. We've got Montgomery sent for 10 here.
Okay, so Dylan Montgomery's just been sent, and Todd Carney is coming off the bench, just wincing. Todd Carney, knowing how important this game is, I can see a co-commentator down there, Michael Shaw, just repeated it. We can't repeat here, but basically it means that Todd Carney, if he's off, and he needs to be out there.
He's got that
for Byron to be any chance.
He's got that look of resignation, like he definitely knows, like he's done a hammy or he's done a calf or something. We'll find out what's happened there with Todd Carney, but I hate to say for the Red Devils fans, his day could be done.
Oh, that kick did not find touch there for the Ballina Seagulls.
I think that was some great work from Brad Lees there, Nev.
Yeah,
tapping it back.
Yeah, so that's going to be taken up here by, I can't make out the number there. That was going to be Batiste. Still a bit more afters than the push and shove. This is Guy Hines. He gets it there, 30 metres out now for the Ballina line. And Ballina have conceded a very costly penalty, more push and shove. And that's not the play you should be pushing and shoving to Michael Dwayne, because he will bite back.
Yeah, we've got Kennedy off the back fence here, straight into him.
Big hit by Kennedy, gets it inside, 10 metres or 15 metres out now from the Seagulls line. Batiste, this is going to be taken up by Maloney. And he gets it there just inside 10. Batiste, that's going into the hands, that's Weber. And he's going to go for a run, hit and spin. He's just got it. Oh, did he manage to get the ball down after all that? Referee's just going to check with his assistants.
He's got time off here.
And I think that's Ben Weber that just got. No, that's Ben Weber on screen there, but I think that was Maloney. Sorry, that's Dan Gibson. Now that's another player that he's only just come back from last week there, Crossy. He is one player that Byron Bay absolutely need as well.
Well, I thought he scored, and it was a great run off an inside ball there, and I thought he sort of got over, but he sort of hasn't moved. And Bay trainers are out there with him now, so yeah, let's hope he's all right. They need him if they're any chance here this afternoon.
Trust you're enjoying the coverage wherever you're watching. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au for all your betting information. You can see there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard, it is 6 apiece between these two teams, which was the case at halftime. Last time these two players, and Dan Gibson there is not looking too pretty there. They're working on his neck there, and I think he just got absolutely rolled over that try line.
It was a bit of an awkward one, wasn't he? He made that half break. Like I said, I thought he'd scored, and then we seen him get up here, so.
And Crossy, just to iterate how important Dan Gibson is, there's 3 players in the Byron Bay side that have scored 10 tries or more this year, and Dan Gibson is one of those 3. Mitchell Krause being the other, and I believe. So as we resume time here, this is going to be play the hands of Booth. That's Krause. Booth just knocks that into the hands of Jamie Lyon. Handed that one right back to the Ballina Seagulls, and they'll have it now 15 metres out from their own line.
Oh, well, the ball just didn't quite go to hand there with Booth. If he catches that Booth, he ducks around the short side, and there's a 2-on-1, and I think it's try time for the Bay, but not to be on that occasion. So now it's Ballina's turn to try to get out of their own end.
So Byron Bay, they've had 2 players that have played just about every game this year in Dylan Montgomery and Andrew Batiste, which are the 2 players that playing against their ex-clubs today. A total of 12 players have played 10 games or more out of a possible 15 this year, so they managed to get their strongest lineup back at the right time of the year, but it's with a couple of players out now because Todd Carney and Dan Gibson, we can see they're knocked on. And Byron Bay once again let off the hook, and they'll go have a scrum feed 40 out from their own line.
Well, that was pretty poor play there from Liam Anderson. I mean, they created the space. It was a good long ball. I think it might have been from Hansen. And I think Gibson was a long way in. And there's a 2-on-1, and he didn't look until the last minute there to put, look like Sheether down that touchline. That pass should have been thrown half a second before then, and it's possibly try time. So they've missed a chance here, the Seagulls.
So as the scrum goes down, Ballina, of course, they've got it. Their next date is a week off next week, but they'll host either the winner of next week's game between Mooloolaba and Casino. Could almost safely assume it's going to be in Mooloolaba next week. And their current top try scorer, Oliver Regan, is 4th overall. So he didn't score his first try cross until round 6 this year. Would you believe it?
Yeah, I remember talking about that, and then he scored a heap after that, didn't he? Like, he scored
Absolutely.
3 or 4 in one game. Maybe got a couple of hat-tricks, did he?
Yeah, and what is not good reading for the Byron Bay Red Devils, when he does score, which he already has today, he normally scores 2 in a game too. And that's the exception to the rule, is that he scored against Mullumbimby a couple of weeks ago and didn't score double at that point. So I think Dan Gibson, is that Dan Gibson?
Yeah, that was
so
Dan Gibson.
Yeah, so he's back on his feet, which is encouraging. Well, they need him out there. Let's iterate. But it's good to see the lad walking up on his 2 feet again.
And Roberts Laurie let him down there. If he had pushed up, they might have had some space. There's tackle 5.
So they're playing the short side. This is going to be a run for it. Bats it back in, and Kraus should get his hand onto it, but their flag's up already. So this will be should be a scrum feed now for the Ballina Seagulls, 10 from their own line.
Well, let's see if it is that. He's indicating it might have been touched here.
So this is going to be taking a good tackle there by Batiste, but Ben Webber getting involved as well. So this is going to be Michael Dwayne now to play at 10 metres out from his own line as time is stopped.
We've got Brasek down there now, the front row here for the Seagulls.
There's been a few casualties out there for both teams, and Ballina, it makes you wonder to think, like, if they're... I can totally understand the whole concept of, and as you can see today, the massive crowd, there's not much green patch left on either side of the field, but you've got to ask yourself, like, the bigger prize being bringing back that major premiership, which they eluded them on home turf last year, and you'd think that by stacking the bench against, well, basically, they've got nothing to play for now other than, getting bragging rights in the local derby, you think it's proven to be a little bit costly, even with the week off next week, Rossi?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you sort of want your best players. When you know you've got a week off next week, you really want to play well today, play nice and physical, and knowing that that you're not going to have a game next week. So I know Killer will have them sort of primed up for today, and also some plans in place for next week in relation to some training, and try to simulate sort of some match stuff with an opposed session, probably with their reserve grade team at some stage as well. So anyway, we're back underway here now.
So just a score update at Coogin as Raiders have hit themselves back in front. They're 16 points to 12 over the Coogin Hornets, which means potentially the calculators might still make a cameo by about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Crossy, we'll see.
Yeah, when it gets down to the last sort of 10 or 15 minutes in this second half, it will be very interesting to see what sort of translates. So hopefully for the Red Devils fans here today that it goes their way, but still a long way to go.
So this will be Zach. Oh, so this should be a penalty given, and it is to the Ballina Seagulls for holding the player off the ball. So this will be now Jamie Lyon. He'll send this one downtown. And there's been a bit of wind this weekend across the eastern seaboard of Australia. Even just last week, yesterday, it was about 45 to 50 kilometre winds just between the Gold Coast and here, Grozzy.
Yeah, well, I flew to Sydney yesterday, and I was worried I sort of wouldn't get down there. A lot of flights being cancelled, but thankfully I got there okay.
So this is going to be, I think that's Jack Durheim in the tackle. He'll play it now. So Ballina are appealing for another penalty. Won't get it. This will be Beecher into the hands of Perry. Perry into the hands of Coleman. And he's just going to be held off there 15 metres out. So At this point of the game, Ballina just like last time these two teams played, where Ballina won 36-6. This was at this point of the game when they sort of found their groove. So Michael Dwayne just brought down there in the tackle. This will be Beecher playing short side, brings it back inside. Beecher goes himself. Beecher gets over the line. Beecher gets the Ballina Seagulls in front of 10-6.
That's a great try from Zach Beecher. There was nothing on there. He just showed his class. We spoke about his utility value before. He's wearing number 2 today, but he's been playing in at hooker while Michael Dwayne started from the bench. So great try from Beecher, and that's happened while Big Dylan Montgomery's off the field. He'll be due to return any second now.
And this is probably where it's starting to prove a little bit costly now with the absence of Todd Carney being on the field here, Crossy.
Another thing too, mate, is it's not just that. It's also these penalties. You know, they're letting themselves down with giving away cheap penalties when Ballina are trying to ruck it out of their own end. So you can't afford to do that against anyone, particularly against Ballina, who notoriously do sort of get out of their own end quite well, and with sort of the kicking game of Jamie Lyons. So it's been a little bit of a story of the year for the Bay in the games I've seen, is that they've been really good in patches and then they've let themselves down at other times, which has come back to bite them in, as you said, Nev, with a few of them games that, you know, they've lost by a point or 2 points or 4 points, and that comes back to sort of using a lot of that energy and having to do too much tackling because of some undisciplined play at times.
So Zach Beecher, that is his 6th try of the campaign. That's not including the 2 he scored, as Jamie Lyons sends that over to make it now 12-6. That doesn't include the 2 that he scored at under 23s level for the Northern Rivers Titans against the Greater Northern Tigers in Armidale. What a comeback season for Zach Beecher after, I think he was he away? Or sorry, was that Kel Sheaver? He went to Newcastle.
No, Kel Sheaver was spending a bit of time up in the Gold Coast Titans.
Yeah, sorry, it was Zach Beecher.
Yeah.
He played down at Central Newcastle last year, so.
Now, I wouldn't want to be having this run for Ballina because a big deal Montgomery's, he had sort of smoke coming out his ears before he was fuming. So I'll be running away from him on this carry.
So this is now going to be taken up, and big hard run by Zach Beecher, and he's just met in the tackle there by Lachlan Kennedy as well as Ben Webber. This is going to be Michael Dwayne, plays in the hands of Perry, and he's just brought down there 20 metres away from the Ballina line. Ballina just, you think now they're starting to get out of second gear and moving into third. You can see Jess Perry dropping in the feet, and that's Dylan Montgomery's ex-teammate, just crunches him into the turf. Michael Dwayne passes it into Hanson. I think that's going to be Hayden Hanson. He's brought down there by Lachlan Kennedy. Byron Bay just holding Ballina inside their own half of field, doing well thus far. And this is going to be brought up there. I think that's that's Ray Buchanan. 45 metres out now, 5th and last. Byron do not want to get into a rut and let Ballina take the big fresh hole that's going. That was Michael Dwayne, fends off, kicks that up by Jamie Lyon. Lyon goes for a chase, and Reece Richards just made a meal of it, and it'll be a scrum feed now for the Byron Bay Red Devils, about 20 out from their own line.
That's a pretty good result for the Seagulls. I mean, after points, and they've finished up sort of 15 metres out from the Red Devils line. So they'll be happy with that set. Just a few little concerns for me with the Red Devils. I mean, I saw Scott Stapleton race out of the line there, trying to sort of, make a big shot there. That's not the play. They need to keep their line connected and sort of play percentages and try to build some pressure, not sort of go for those one-on-one things.
So as we enter the final 10 minutes of the first half here, so Byron are down to those 6 at the present, and they've just knocked that one on. So this will be now a 35-metre scrum feed now for the Ballina Seagulls. Ballina have got the much superior record of Byron Bay in recent times. At 11 games, Byron have only won 1. That was off post grand final in 2015. They won in the first round, I believe, and they haven't won since.
Yeah, well, mate, and to be fair, there's probably not a lot of teams that can boast a very good record against Ballina over the past sort of 8 to 10 years, really.
Unless you're from the Tweed region, because the only losses, and I've said this last week, and I've said it a few, another penalty given to the Ballina Seagulls. Their only losses since round 1 last year were to teams based on the Tweed.
Yeah, there you go. And we've just seen another penalty, and again, this is one of these 50-50 ones, but my point here is, I mean, Kennedy lifted the leg. There's no need to lift that leg. You don't achieve anything by doing that at the moment, given the undisciplined nature of a few things that have already happened. We've had a guy in the sin bin, we've got a 6 or 7-1 penalty count, and look, to be fair, a lot of those are probably warranted, and the Bay, they just don't need that at the moment. They've got to get back on track and start building some pressure.
So whilst Byron have had more total try scorers than Ballina this year, the 20-17, a stat that kind of, mountains that is the total amount of tries. Ballina have scored 102 tries to Byron's 73 going into this game. So, and whilst Ballina, as I made mention, they've held their squads pretty well, which is probably partially responsible why they're going to be, well, they are the minor premiers this year. Ballina having used only 24 players this year to Byron's 39.
Yeah, well, that's a really telling stat in itself. To have that consistency of your team is sort of everything. So they're going to have some numbers on the left here, the Seagulls rather.
So that's Hayden Hansen wrapped up there. This will be Zach Beach to play from dummy half into the hands of Perry. Pats it off in there, Anthony Coleman. And that was meant for the hands of Liam Anderson, but it's going to fall into the hands now. That is, I think that's Kel Shiva. And he's just going to be held short of the line.
We've got a guy down here for Ballina.
Okay, so that looks like that's Michael Coleman that's down there for the Seagulls. Yeah, Crossy, he's just got back into his feet now.
Yeah, I think he was hit off the ball rather, so we may even see another penalty here.
And then Byron is starting into a groove that they don't want to get themselves in, conceding that many penalties when they need to.
Well, it's one thing to try to be aggressive and sort of change the tempo of the game and by making a big hit, but you've got to have that controlled aggression, and I just think that they just haven't found their happy medium. They've missed the mark on a few occasions here today, and it's starting to become a little bit telling.
Cross, yeah, they made mention they've Ballina stacking their lineups today, and you'd be forgiven for doing so. With 14 players have played 13 out of a possible 16 this year for the Ballina Seagulls, so you think any other team, they wouldn't have that kind of luxury, especially in this one, the final round, with a grand final qualifier to follow.
And it's a great sign that they're playing because, yeah, it means that, like, for their captain coach Jamie Lyon, all these players want to be out there today for them in what really is a nothing game. So it just shows the culture they've built at that club.
So it's be Beach now to play on the second phase, 5 out. Big hard hit by Hansen. He's looking promising for the try line, and Hansen. He might have even just got that down, or we'll just see what the referee opts to call here. He's going to send him back. So Byron Bay just holding on. They do not want to get past a two-try deficit. This is Lyon playing short side. This is going to be hardly hit there by Jack Durheim. He's so close to the line, Jack Durheim. And there's going to be Sean Booth, the halfback, looking for help. Going to be into the hands of Lyon. Lyon into the hands of Hansen. Hansen's got Michael Dwayne on his left side, but goes himself. He gets out of the clutches of Dylan Montgomery. Not many players do tend to get out of his clutches there, Crossy, by any stretch.
He's a strong human, Hansen.
So this is Lyon. Lyon goes himself, passes into the hands of Durheim, and that's going to be Ray Buchanan in the corner. And Byron Bay now going to be at a deficit of 10, and the calculators might have to make a cameo in the second half at 16-6, kick to come.
And we just saw the class of Jamie Lyon there. He sort of took an early catch there, ran out, stepped back off his right, then he ducked back off his left, flicked it out over the top, and it ended up in the hands of Buchanan in that right-hand corner. And that had to come, didn't it? I mean, they just give penalty after penalty, weight of possession. They couldn't sort of hang on any longer. And, yeah, they're a look of sort of a little bit despondent down there, the Red Devils. They've been well and truly in this game, but as I said before, they just keep letting themselves down at key moments with some undisciplined play and some poor defence.
Trust you join the coverage, remember you're watching. NRRRL is proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au for all your betting information. Gamble responsibly and download the app today, either on your tablets or smartphones, as we're in the dying minutes here. That's not a try that Byron needed, but unfortunately for them, it's one that it was certainly coming there, Crossy.
Yeah, it had to come, and it's a shame. I mean, I'm just looking around Red Devil Park here. What a great afternoon we've got. We've got a bumper crowd in. It was hard sort of to get a car park. It's got a real sort of semi-final feeling at the ground here today. So I just hope for all the Red Devils fans out here that they can actually rally at half-time and come out in the second half and really turn it on.
So as Lyon sends a kick up, it's got the length, doesn't have it, so still remains 16-6. So just to see where we're at with things in terms of points differential, we have Byron, who we've started this with 24, with a 10-point deficit brings it to 14. Whilst they get another 4 back at the present as Tweed Coast Raiders 16 to Coogin Hornets 12. That's the latest we've got there. So they'll boost that back by another 4. So they're only about 6 points off which means they're still safe for a 5th spot at this time. But let's see what the next 40 minutes after this brings.
Mate, I hope your maths is good at the end of this game.
I was all right at maths, not English.
Okay.
So we'll do our best to try and make it so you don't have to reach for a calculator yourself. So that's what we do here at Mark Goff Media.
That's it. Maybe Goffy could actually do some calculations and send it through.
Oh, no. Let's not. Let's not.
He's a great man, Goffy. He'd be listening.
So this is going to go through the hands. Just I think about 30 metres away from the Ballina line. This will be Michael Dwayne now to play from dummy half. Kick go. That is some serious swell and serious hang time. And it's just going to bounce in front of Mitchell Krause. They'll need something from him. That's a start.
Yeah, Krause didn't really want to know about that one, but he's so potent with broken field play. So he could have easily sort of gone 70 or 80 metres there if they weren't careful.
And Reese Riches smashes Bradley's into the turf. 20 metres out now. This is going to be played up there. That is the man, Mitchell Krause. And he's just going to be collected there by Reese Riches.
You can throw a blanket over the Red Devils here. They're sort of, they need a good carry here from Montgomery just to get them down the other end and start playing a bit of field position and get into a bit of an arm wrestle here.
So this is now going to be Andrew Batiste to play it into the hands. That's Weber. That's going to be a big hit there by Dan Gibson. He's managed to shrug off that injury he had. Batiste kicks it across the carpet. Should be collected there by Kel Shiva. And he's going to be met there in defence by about 3 Red Devils. And he's going to be held off there about 35 metres out.
Tell you what, they threw everything at him there. Kel Shiva, he stood up. He's not the biggest guy, but geez, he showed some strength there.
So Dylan Montgomery, as you can see, they're back in the field after being set for 10. Another penalty conceded there by the Byron Bay Red Devils. And this is going to potentially make that deficit all that more worrying for the Red Devils fans in front of us after a very promising start after the first 10 minutes at crossing.
Yeah, just obviously a very unhappy crowd here. We've got nine penalties in a row here against the Bay, and they're just walking that tightrope there. It's a real fine line, and they're ended up on the wrong end of it here on a few occasions.
And you give Ballina Seagulls a fresh set of 6 inside your own half, or your own 30 metres even, in this case, at your peril. Because Ballina, they had 11 players who have scored 5 tries or more this year, 4 of those 10 or more. Whilst in comparison, Byron Bay have had 4 who have scored 5 more, and 3 have scored 10 or more. This is Hansen. And nice tackle, drives him in, Hayden Hansen into the turf, still 10 metres out. This is going to the hands of Perry. Perry into the hands of Liam Anderson. He was a try scorer from last week against the Raiders. This is 5th and last. Byron needs to defend this like their finals depend on it. They can't afford to stretch this deficit even further. And that's going to be knocked forward. Reese Riches collects that. Normally scores in the corner. And we're going to see if he's got one in this occasion. The referee's going to check with his assistants. And that's just come out of nothing there, Crossy.
Well, I think he's going to check with the touch judge to see if it was a fair contest. So Bradley's looked like he had a sort of fairly good shot at it. So whether he copped a bit of a knock before the ball was sort of in his keeping will remain to be seen. So it looks like he's going to say
he's going to give this one. Reese Riches has just got himself on the score sheet. Now making the score 20 points to 6. Byron Bay over Byron Bay here at Red Devil Park.
Yeah, that's one of those 50-50 ones, and obviously today I think the Red Devils will probably feel that they haven't got the 50-50 calls, but again, it came from a penalty when Ballina was sort of coming out of their own end for sort of holding down in the ruck. That sort of got Ballina down the other end of the field there at times. So I'm just looking down at sort of, Mick Foster, the assistant coach, and Todd Carney sort of sitting down there fairly despondent. It doesn't look like he'll be back. So they really need to find something at half time here, the Red Devils, because their season could well be over if, as we said, if the maths goes against them.
So that now at this stage makes that 24-point cushion down to, well, that's going to be what? That's 18, sorry, is that 20 to 6? That's 14 of that 24 extinguished. And I think the score is still 16-12, Tweeder in front. So that's a credit, another 4, so whatever that adds up to. Byron is still not out of it, but I mean, they can't allow more of this. And this is going to be momentum that Ballina take it into the second half too.
Yeah, that's right. Ballina are just doing their thing. They're just playing how they normally do.
And you can hear a bit of the revving of the motor there, but this case, Jamie Lyon adds the extras. 22-6, Ballina over the Byron Bay Red Devils here at Red Devil Park. So 16 of that 24 they started is now at 8. And I don't like Byron's chances defending 8 in the second half of what we've seen in the last 25 minutes, Crossy.
And especially not given that we won't probably see Carney again. And they've used a lot of juice with all the defence they've had to do on the back of giving away a lot of penalties. So, even the
Oh,
hang on.
so was that touched off? So is that going to be... So Byron Bay have got this one back.
Geez, if the Bay can get a try here, that'll give them a huge spring into half-time. We've got around a minute on the clock. They'll have to be quick.
So that was touched off. I think that was Ray Buchanan who touched it. So this is going to be a scrum. So Byron, it's an imperative they get something of this to get their for and against, looking a bit more healthier to try and at least sneak into the finals there, Crossy. So that's Mitchell Krause just held there 20 metres out from the Ballina line. Batiste will now play it. This is Montgomery. He just barrages over, fends off it. I think that's a bit of payback there for from Montgomery to Jess Perry, and they give the penalty away. So Montgomery was keen to just run at his ex-teammates there, Crossy, but that bit of a push and shove on Jess Perry, I think that was payback for Jess Perry smashing him before.
Yeah, mate, and they didn't really want a penalty there. They wanted to keep playing and get on with it because we're really running the clock, 14 seconds.
So this one play, two at most. Batiste, Booth, into the hands of Krause. Krause knows how to score him, but he's just held off there by Jamie Lyon. This should be the last roll of the dice for Byron Bay to get some furniture back in. Batiste, that's going to be Guy Hines. He's not going to make it, Guy Hines. Ballina are now going to go into the sheds with a healthy lead, but that is irrelevant for Byron Bay's case. They need to not concede as many. They've now got a cushion of 8. And then it's the calculators of whatever happens at Tweed Coast and Coogin there, Crosby.
Yeah, it is indeed. So I think Carney be really keen to get his team in there at half-time. They'll be really frustrated. They'll be feeling like everything's against them at the moment, but like I've said on a number of occasions, they've walked a fairly fine line with their discipline and sort of holding down, and they've probably ended up on maybe a couple of sort of 50-50 calls, but certainly some penalties that were warranted. So they're going to get their discipline in order in this second half if they're any chance here this afternoon.
So trust you join the coverage wherever you may be watching. It's half-time here at Red Devil Park in Byron Bay. It's Ballina Seagulls 22 to the Byron Bay Red Devil 6, which still leaves Byron Bay at a shot at 5th. Though it's looking a little bit worrying because at the score at the present, it is 16 points to 12. The Tweed Coast over Coogin. That credits 4 points, but there's still going to be plenty more to see in the next 40 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with you for the second half of action. So Dwayne Neville and Nathan Cross back with you for the second half of action. And if things just got bad or worse for the Byron Bay Red Devils, they failed to get off to the kickoff, and Ballina are going to give them being gifted a penalty straight off the cuff. And if you just joined us, it is 22 points to 6. Byron Bay over Ballina. Sorry, Ballina over Byron Bay. I should apologise there. So Ballina have mopped up 16 of the 24 points of the differential that Byron Bay had going into this one, though. Coogin are now in front, 18 to 16. So an outright win for Coogin will see Byron into 5th spot as Tweed cannot progress on 20 points. So Crossy, that wasn't a good start for Byron, but what do they need to do here?
Not that. I found
Definitely
that
not.
very perplexing. He's a very experienced player, Batiste, but that was an all or nothing play, and not something I'm sure they probably thought they'd do. As we see Regan, and
so that's Liam Anderson just barraging over the line. He's knocked that one into the hands. That's gone into Kel Sheaver. And Kel Sheaver has just gone on over. It's getting bad to worse now for the Byron Bay Red Devils. Thus now making the score 26 to 6.
Yeah, mate, I'm a bit dumbfounded really with I don't know what the mindset is there. I would have thought after half-time you'd come out and kick deep into a corner, get some of that physicality back in your defence and try to force an error and get some weight of possession. But like I said, it was an all or nothing play. Unfortunately for Batiste and the Red Devils, it turned into nothing. And Ballina have just scored a try in the first minute of this second half. And let's hope for the Red Devils fans that doesn't set the scene for the next 40 minutes.
So Kel Shiva, that's his 5th try of the campaign. He's an excellent ex-Dolphins junior. And as you made mention before, as we were clearing that up, he did play up at the Tweed Seagulls too, Crossy.
But he did. He was in the Gold Coast Titans sort of system up there, and he was, he was up there with the Titans and playing at Tweed. It sort of didn't quite work out for him, but he's a good young player, Sheila.
So now that, with this kick, we'll make it 28 to Tweed, and that's going to be the 24 points that Coogin have over Coogin, pretty much extinguished. So for all the Byron Bay fans sitting around here on this hill, get your calculators out. It's now that time. So as the kick goes up, it's got the height. Will it have the distance? And it doesn't. So thus now making the score 26 to 6. Ballina over Byron Bay. Just walking out around the grounds here, there at Crossy at halftime. It's what a turnout this is, though, regard the score line. And you could, the Byron Bay ladies team have their own little ladies stand there as well. So it's definitely a good fight, but it's just knocked the stuffing out with this score line. And there's still another 38 minutes of football for Byron to at least get something back of it now. So it's now, let's put it in simple terms now. Could you need to win the Byron to play finals now? You could say now that this points differential is going to go out the window. So it's basically now a Coogin win to assure in the finals.
I'm not sure what that penalty was for, but that's about 10, 11-2. I'm just great, Dinty Dave, the ground announcer. How long have you been announcing here at Red Devil Park for?
Back in your days, Crossy?
Oh, certainly, back in my days.
So that's at least 20 odd years. So.
Yeah.
So this is going to be Hanson. And he's just held there 40 metres out.
He's a life member of the club, didn't he? And does a good job. So Ballina on the attack here now through Dwayne.
This is Michael Dwayne now. Goes for a gallop and he's just going to be held off there. That's, I think that's Dominic Maloney getting involved in the tackle. This is Beach from dummy half. Goes for a quick run. He's just held off the line. And well, Byron, they had a fast, quick start. And we thought this could have been a bit of a tight contest. But Michael Dwayne there's just going for a run. He's going to be knocked off the line. So this is going to be played off now here by, this is Buchanan. Line into the hands. That's Hanson. And he's just going to be held off there, 20 metres out. Good tackle there by Montgomery. This is the 5th and last. And this is going to be kicked there by Jess Perry. And going to be, well collected there. I think that's Ben Webber. And he's just going to be brought down there by Jamie Lyon on the first phase. Just about now. So this will be Webber to play it. I think this is Mitchell Krause. Goes for a little jump. He's going to be held off there by Michael Coleman. And just in the other game, we can safely assume now we're well and truly on the way to Mooloolaba now. It's an absolute cricket score out there between Mooloolaba and Mullumbimby in the Grand Court Cup. Last time I checked there, Crossy, let me just get this one up here. So I believe the score was 46-0.
Yeah,
and that was
half time.
Oh, that was even, I think that was about 5 minutes before half time. I just quickly looked at it then. So yeah, safely you can assume that's in the qualifying finals locked and loaded now. So this one has still got something to play for. So, and I think the score's still. I think it was. Let me see with Coogin. That's. I think that it said there 18-16 to Coogin. So yeah, you got to think now that like Byron would need Coogin to win the play fifth because. With that one going either way, that's the problem. It's going to be a short loss or a win for Coogin, you think. As you can see, Rhys Richards just knocks that one on. Byron now will have a scrum feed just shy halfway.
Yeah, Richards just had he had a pretty easy crack at that one, Rhys Richards, so just try to take it one-handed. But the Red Devils fans are just up in arms, searching for a penalty of their own. They sort of thought Ballina was offside a lot of that last set, but it wasn't forthcoming. So I'd really like to see the Bay, if nothing else, just get down sort of near that 10-metre line here, go on the attack, and even worst case, force a dropout and get a repeat set.
Rossi, just to iterate that Ballina, like, out of all their try scorers this year, only 3 of them have only scored once, only just the one try this year. 2 of those have played less than 8 games. So
yeah, wow.
even the, so you basically get a Guernsey for 8 games, you're going to nearly assure yourself a try like on this try sheet.
Yeah, it shows the well-balanced side, and they don't sort of favour any particular side of the field, do they?
Now, is that Todd Carney back on the field there? Crossy just went for a run? I could be wrong. No, sorry. That was that was Cole Kennedy. Must have been the haircut.
Yeah, they do look similar with the haircuts, yeah.
And the 8 does look like a 6 on their numbers. So, no, you think Carney's out for the game with that, like when he came off in that, like in the first 20 minutes. So, and I think that's sort of like where this is. You take your leader out of the game, and it's just going to ruin you. This is going up by Booth. Booth puts a good kick up. Well, you'd think.
Great take from Reece Richards there. That was outstanding. Yeah, and I was just going to make that point. You're right. I mean, let's not forget they lost Carney early on, plus their other half, young Booth. I mean, he's eligible for under 18 still. So it's a pretty tough ask for a kid to come out and control a game against the minor premiers and a team that's dominated for the last sort of 8 to 10 years. So he's doing his best, but he's missing the experience of Carney.
Yeah, and I was iterating there, Crossy, like the Red Devils have only failed to score double digits once this year, and you're looking at the team that was responsible for it on the other side of it, and being Ballina, 36-6. So Byron, I think if they don't want to rely on what's happening up north, they're at least got to get a couple of tries, because I mean, whilst I think the 2 points is out of the question now, you'd think they need to get some of that forward against looking a little bit more healthier, because I'm concerned for the Byron Bay's case that Ballina could really go in and make this look ugly.
Here's a good run from Roberts Laurie. It was a good carry from Krause and then Roberts Laurie. So now Kennedy. So this is a better set from the Red Devils.
So just to iterate before about the record that Ballina have over, since 2013, they have a 10-1-1 record, and they finally get the penalty now. The way they're playing, Crossy, would you just go for the 2 just to at least get something? Or would you run? They're going to run.
They'll definitely run. Based on Andrew Batista's kickoff in the second half, they won't be taking the 2.
So that's taken up there by Guy Hines. Some good yardage here from the Byron Bay Red Devils at this, so they need to see this to the set of 6. Batiste goes himself into Booth. That's going to be Dylan Montgomery. Spilt that over. Ballina Seagulls will pick this one up, and should be an advantage played. And yeah, Ballina should have the scrum feed 10 out.
And what was that? Tackle 2?
Tackle 2 or 3 at most.
Yeah, again, they just let themselves down. It was a shame. It was, the young half there, Booth, he sort of looked for his inside man in Big Montgomery, and Monty just couldn't come up with a catch. He might have found some joy. He was close to the line there. He might have been too big and strong and forced his way over, but it wasn't to be on that occasion.
So trust you join the coverage where maybe watching. You can see that on the Ladbrokes scoreboard. Ballina Seagulls doing it comfortably here against Byron Bay at 26-6. Proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au for all your betting information. Gamble responsibly. Download the app today. We get back to live action. This will be now Zach Beecher now to play it from dummy half. That's Michael Dwayne. He's just held there. Oh, he's pushed back there by Guy Hines. And about there, 20 metres out, and just on the centre of field. This is Beecher. Big tackle there by Montgomery. Guy Hines, he's been very busy in attack and defence. And as you can see here, Crossy, I think that's Billy Dwayne getting warmed up about to come onto the field.
Billy Dwayne, yeah. And mate, Guy Hines, where's he from?
Guy Hines, let me just check on that, Crossy. As we can see,
another penalty. So Batista's going to speak to the referee. He's sort of had enough. He's feeling like they're not sort of getting any sort of rub at the green. Ballina and gave the penalty away for being offside before, but I don't think Killer's found touch here.
No, that's gone into the hands of Keon Laurie. So, Crossy, just to answer your question on Guy Hines, he actually played for the Aberdeen Tigers in 2012 and represented a Group 21 level. So, he's a Greater Northern Tigers boy.
Yeah, he's got a bit of go about him, Hines, doesn't he? He looks he's coming from the field here now, but he looks a goer.
They breed him really tough in the inner west. I'm like covering a couple of the 16, the Laurie Daly Andrew Trotz Cup game. I'm just seeing the size of the 16-year-olds that they're out there. They're massive.
Oh, here's a penalty, but they didn't even want a penalty there. Batiste was sort of away. Kennedy had a great carry, got through the line and quick play the ball, and now he's going to front up and have this next one.
So that's going to be big hit up there. I think that's Lachlan Kennedy. So Byron Bay just need to get some yardage, and like I feel if they get to their set of 6, they'll get some points. And let's be frank, Crossy, they really need to, because they need to. As I said, if they don't get the points, then they have to defend, and if they can't defend, then as you can see there, it's just been the story of their game. that was Cole Kennedy that's handed that right back into the hands of the Ballina Seagulls.
Yeah, it was a shame. The pass was just a little bit behind him, but he should have taken it. And once again, down in that sort of area and come up with a mistake. So they're their own worst enemies at the moment.
So they're 20 metres out now. So this is going to be played by Beecher. That's gone into the hands. I think that's Jess Perry. He's going to be brought down there by Dominic Maloney. And there's another penalty. So I think there could be someone going for an early shower here, Crossy.
Yeah, well, I think that was, well, obviously that's Kennedy. I think it was one of the old grapple tackles, a bit of the Melbourne Storm type. Now he's got his brother coming in to some little bit of support.
So just to have a look at some of these things. So we made the mention of 24 points. Not good reading for Byron on that front too. Last 3 out of 4, they've lost by 24 points or more. 36-6, 64-0. They did get a draw against Ballina in 2017, 16-6, and then you go back to 2016, 44-6.
Yeah, okay, so the way they're going here, that's going to blow out even further because, yeah, they are trying, like they're really trying, but they're missing the mark on a few things, like I've said a number of times.
So what is an interesting fact here too, Crossy, about, and this has been changed over the course of the season. Ballina Seagulls, despite the impressive attack that they've got, they've only got one player in the top list of top 5 try scorers. That's Ollie Regan McFall, who didn't score his first try, as I mentioned, till round 6.
Yeah, I think, like I was mentioning before, they share it around a fair bit, and they don't sort of favour any side of the field. I mean, they do like to play Coleman early because he's such a good carrier of the football, but you've got threats on both. Coleman plays on the left, you've got Jamie Lyon on the right, and Regan that sort of floats, and Michael Dwayne sort of plays absolutely anywhere, doesn't he? And then this guy as well, Hanson, he's been a huge find from this year.
So that's Hanson brought down, so this is going to be Beecher from dummy half. That's Jess Perry, and he's going to be held off the line there from Dominic Maloney. And there's a little bit more push and shove to follow. I wonder what that was about there, Crosby.
Yeah, I don't know. This is getting a bit ridiculous, I think. Might have been another one. Dom Maloney's having a lot to say there. I don't actually know.
Okay, sorry, Crossy, I just got a butt in there. I've just got an update up with Kudjin, and this is, I know we sort of made mention of this down the track, and this could not be any worse for Byron Bay if it sees it out. There's still 17 minutes to go, apparently. 18 all. They can't afford a draw at any stretch.
So a draw for the Red Devils is the worst possible result.
Even doesn't. Yeah, you can throw all the calculators all you like there. A draw will see Tweed go to 21, Kudjin to 22, Byron on 21, but then Tweed's for and against is better than Byron.
Okay.
And rest assured, I mean, they'll be fighting for a field goal there, won't they?
They will. That'll be interesting viewing actually up there at. Is that a Kudjin?
Yes.
Yep. That'll be a great crowd up there today too. Oh, as we see, is that?
That's Buchanan, and he's just held off there by that's Dylan Montgomery as well as Sean Booth. So this is going to be played here by Beecher, short side. That's going into the hands. That's Reece Richards for a double in the corner. He has done that so well for the last 3 or 4 months in that corner. So dangerous in that corner to add the extras. That is now, you can, start banging on those calculators. That is 24 points gone for Byron Bay at 30-6 kick to come.
Mate, we've got a forward pass here. I thought it actually looked forward out.
Oh, okay. So we'll bring that one back to 26-6. Well, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, forward pass. It sort of, it looked at, it was sort of on that 10-metre line, which sort of gave it away. But good call there from the referee.
So this is going to be. So this is going to be Ben Webber held there 20 metres out, and he's going to be brought down there. And okay, so Mullenbar, Mullum, get ready for this one. 70-0.
Yeah, that's always the worry. Last game of the year, Mullumbimby, the season's gone, nothing to play for. So, yeah, not uncommon. Oh, Batista's just absolutely shanked that one. Sort of sums up their day a little bit.
So this is going to be Nicely taken the tackle there by Jamie Lyon. He's 30, just 5 metres short of halfway. Byron, we really need to get a move on now. If things levelled up at Tweed, up on the Tweed, doesn't matter what the points differential is, that will see them packing. And if they get into the finals, it'll be the first time since 2014, back in your day there, Crossy, when you were on the coaching staff.
Yeah, it'd be good to see him play some finals again. It's been a bit of a drought there, so you know they're still alive, but it's up against them here.
So through their hands, that's brought down there. So with that draw, I think that then sent, so that would be Coogin that will host Tweed if that was to eventuate, but that's going to be Ben Webber. He's so close to the line, and that was on the 5th and last 2. So that's going to be playing the ball there about 2 to 3 metres away from the Ballina Seagulls line. This is going to, sorry.
No, I was just thinking about that Tweed Coogin game. That'd be quite interesting. It'd be local derby up there as well, same as we've got here, and there'd be a big crowd up there and plenty of feeling. So that'd be it'd be good to watch that last sort of 15-20 minutes up there.
Yeah, so strap yourselves in. It's going down to the final minutes. Who's going to decide who's going to play in the top 5 in NRRRL Final Series 2019. The Ballina Seagulls, they're playing on the short side. That's going in the hands of Reece Richards. He got denied one before. He's got Raymond Buchanan. That's sort of look. So that's going to be going over there for Cal Shiva. And he goes over under the black dot. There was calls that it might be a hit forward there, Crossy, but that has just got over there for Cal Shiva. It is now 30-6. And now that is the points differential for Byron Bay out the window.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, calls of a forward pass. It was probably another one of those 50-50 ones that they just didn't get. But nevertheless, take nothing away from Ballina. They just kept playing footy. They come down that short side there, that right edge, and it ended up in the hands of Reece Richards. He put a good fend on the young half there, Booth, and threw the pass back inside. And I think, was it Zach Beecher?
No, sorry, that was who played the ball back there.
Who scored the try there?
That was Kel Shiva.
Oh, Shiva.
We both got mixed up between the two. I don't know what it is.
Mate, they're very similar. And
Very similar. Yeah.
I was going to make the point earlier between Beecher, Shiva, and Jess Perry, like 3 of their smallest men. They're 3 of their toughest out there. They're happy to just carry into the line, and they play nice and tough. So I know Coach Jamie Lyon is quite happy with those guys.
So Kel Shiva, that makes his 6th try of the campaign and a double today.
I see back row Anthony Coleman coming off here. He's might be putting himself in some cotton wool there, Coleman. He's had a really big year, very good player, and look forward to watching him have a really big final series.
So Jamie Lyon will add the extra tier, potentially make this 32-6. And then it is now potentially going to be official. Get out those calculators, folks, because it is now time to get the maths in order, unless of course unless the score changes up at Tweed, then it's all, well, if it doesn't change, then that goes out the window.
If you're a betting man, if you're at your Ladbrokes account, you'd be imagining that there will be another point by someone up there on the Tweed, but you never know.
For Byron's sake, they better hope it comes from Coogin.
Yeah, well, that's right.
If Coogin win, as we made mention time and time, if Coogin get the win. Okay.
It's all happening here outside the commentary box.
So this is going to be Kel Shiva looking to get a triple here. He's got one player to beat on the left. Kick goes up. That's going to be taken here by, I think that's Jordan Lee. He brings that back in, but it's not going to have much power to bring it back inside field. So Red Devils now will have a scrum feed, 30 out.
Oh, well, I don't know why he kicked, Shiva. We're just giving him a rap, and he, young Lee loomed up in support on his left there, and he just decided to go for the kick rather than the conventional pass, which would have seen Lee score on that left-hand side. So Byron Bay off the hook there.
So as the scrum's about to go down here, I think this will be Ben Webber now to play it. So he's had a bit of a change of position himself. So he's come on, and he was started on Wednesday. He was lined up on Thursday to play on the wing. So now they've had to bring him in on site. That could be, I don't know if that's trying to, reshuffle things there. But that's Mitchell Krause in the tackle. Reece Richards and Michael Dwayne bring the tackle there about 40 metres out from the Byron line. This is going to be Montgomery. Big hard hit by Montgomery. He's got himself the metres. 45 out from from the Ballina line. This is going to be Batiste. That's going to be Kennedy. He's dropped hard in the tackle, so now the penalty for given to the Byron Bay Red Devils. So,
Might have been for shoulder charge, was it?
yes. So this is now Batiste. This is going to be now Batiste gets into the hands of Kennedy. Kennedy. That's Cole Kennedy. And he's brought down there 15 out. Batiste into the hands. That's big hard run by Lachlan Kennedy. And so we're about 18 minutes. So about 20 minutes to go left in the second half. This is Gibson. That was batted away there by Billy Dwayne, and had to be because that was going to be a try in the corner otherwise.
Yeah, that was smart play though. It was a nice long pass there from the Red Devils. I didn't see who threw that, but they got the space, and then Gibson got on the outside of his man through a nice little pass. But that Ballina winger, that might have been young Lee out there. Was it on the wing?
Yes. Keon, or was it Keon Laurie?
But anyway, he got his hand in the in the way and knocked it down. So they'll have another set of 6 here, the Bay. Let's hope they can get across the stripe.
So it's still 18 all between Tweed and Coogin. That would see Byron packing when you think that even with the points differential, you think that they should see them home. Still about another 20 minutes left to go here. Batiste. That's Hines. Hines goes for a run. He's going to be held just short of it. So we're looking at a similar scoreline as it was a few months ago at Kingswood Smith Park. This is Weber. They're looking promising in the corner. Dan Gibson would like to get one against his old team, and I think he's just going to be able to get one. Dan Gibson, who had that nasty neck injury in the portion of the first half, has got himself on the score sheet at now 32-10.
Yeah, good stuff there for the Bay, the Red Devils. Gibson, he nearly scored earlier, or nearly set one up rather, and on that occasion it was sort of man on man, and he was too strong for his opposite number and got over in that north sort of eastern corner over there. So they bridged the gap a little bit. Obviously this game's gone here this afternoon, but as we keep alluding to, it's the all-important differential may play out.
So that now makes it 22 with a chance of a kick from Batiste to make it a chance to make it 20, but that is all irrelevant if the score still remains at 18 all between Tweed and Coogin.
Yep. And
we joked about it during the week. I thought it surely couldn't be a draw, but then you'd think that, I mean, it's just not been Byron Bay's day. Well, we've got an update here now. It is now Coogin 24, Raiders 18, 7 minutes to go. So that will see Byron into the finals if that is true. 24-18, 7 to go. Okay,
well, a little bit of good news filtering through for the Red Devils faithfully. Like I said earlier, big crowd here today, Nev, and been a really good atmosphere.
Kicker's got the oomph on it, and it's just wiped away. So the score remains 32-10. And so that would be, so in Tweeco's case, if that is going to eventuate, Tweeco's will now want to be one of those unlucky teams to win the minor premiership and go out straight sets next year.
Yeah, they've had a tricky year, the Raiders, with some injury and obviously some players not being there, and it's always hard to replicate sort of premierships, and that's why I take my hat off to clubs like Ballina that have done it year after year. You know, either won premierships or played in grand finals. So the Raiders have tried hard this year, but they've had a lot to deal with. I know the Lanston brothers, Drew was out for most of the year.
Well, Drew was out in the first game.
Yeah, and I know Guy's back now, but has been missing, and among a host of others. So if the Raiders made the semis, it'd be a huge effort.
So this is, I think that's Keon Laurie getting hit in the tackle. So it's looking a little bit more promising now for Byron at this point of the game, but nevertheless, we've seen so much topsy-turvy change up between Coogin and Tweed. And Tweed, no, they've still got the grit to potentially, let's put it this way, Byron don't want to have Tweed win and Coogin by 2.
It'll be interesting to see. They got. I'm just thinking about the Raiders team. I know they got. Batiste has a crack at a 40-20 there, but
nice kick there by Batiste. Will glide into the hands. I think that's going to be taken up there by. I think that's Billy Dwayne.
I think that's Regan.
No, sorry, Ollie Regan.
I was going to say, I know the Raiders have got Don Murray in their side that strikes centre.
He's their top try scorer too.
Yeah, he's electric, mate. So if the game's on the line, I'm sure Murray will be putting his hand up to try to get him home.
So if the scores remain as they do now, Byron, they'll have a date against the Coogin Hornets. As And they, just for their trouble there, the Ballina Seagulls have knocked it on. So that would be Coogin v Byron next Saturday. And Byron, who had a massive win against Coogin here, it was about a month ago, they put it half a century on them. Well, they also, when they went up there, they were winning by 16 points in the last 10 minutes. And as I made mention, it was just the one kick to make it 16, to make it a draw. So it'll be interesting to see what eventuates when it comes, if what could be, should be, would have been. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, mate, it will be. And I'm just having a think. There's a good charge there, Mike Montgomery. It'll be an interesting final series this year. Really, it's sort of probably common knowledge that you really need to be in that top three. Well, history's proven that, to be a real chance. But if someone like the Bay was to sneak in, I'm sure plenty of those teams above them would be looking over their shoulder, particularly if Carney can get himself right.
And look, I reiterate that 2014 grand final. I remember the weekend before that they played Casino, a Casino who they had to play here in the finals that first week. They got absolutely funked by Casino out at QE2 Park. So you probably would have remembered that back in, it was the last round, and then you guys went for a bit of a run to the grand final.
That's right, and even just today, mate, they started so well, a couple of undisciplined things led to a couple of errors, and all of a sudden the game's gone. But they're really not that far away from sort of being that real potent footy team that everyone thought that they could be. So they need to sort of hang in here and hang tight as a unit, because if they do sneak into fifth, they could make a mark.
So this is Michael Dwayne, goes for a gallop, and he's just going to be met there. That's Dylan Montgomery, his ex-teammate, just smashes him into the turf. And he's like a little bull terrier there, like Michael Dwayne, just got a lot of grit, a lot of agility. That's Hayden Hanson. This is going to be now played by, I think that's Zach Beecher. Big long pass, meant for the line, eventually gets there. Line goes for a run. I think Ballina's that's Anthony Coleman.
There goes Coleman.
Big split up the middle, he kicks it over cross, and he just well defended there off the mark, and there's been a little bit of a... So he's going to call that a knock-on against who? I think, for Byron. So it's going to be a Byron feed.
I don't know what kicking school Coleman's been to, but you might want to revisit his education at that school, because that was some of his best work.
Okay, so it is now level at Tweed with 3 minutes to go, 24 all.
Wow.
That will see Byron packing it will see Byron packing. And I think there's a bit of afters in the crowd here. So let's put it this way. If that score remains with 3 minutes to go, it'll be Byron will be out, no matter what happens here.
Well, we've got some dramas down here.
We've got a bit of action in the crowd here. So
no one's watching the footy at the moment. They're all watching the...
Yeah, so a bit of afters there in the crowd. So not what we want to see. So this is going to be Batiste. Plays it into the hands of Weber. And that's going to be taken up there by Lachlan Kennedy. 40 metres out, Batiste. Goes for a gallop. Cut out pass into the hands. That is, I think that's going to be Gibson. Gibson into the hands. That's that's Ben Weber, and he held short. So this is all pretty much irrelevant now. So this is going to be Batiste, kicks across field. It's just going to hold up. And Brad Lees holds onto it, kicks, and that should be collected there by Ollie Regan. And he's just going to be held there inside 10. So unless there's a point come from somewhere, Byron is set packing, Crossy.
Yep. What have they got? 2 or 3 minutes to go up there. So we'll keep our eyes peeled and keep a keen eye on the messages that you're getting through there, Nev.
So this is going to be held off the mark there. So it's literally coming down to the last couple of minutes. So
mate, what odds a draw? Who would have thought there'd be a draw up there?
I know. We talk about it and the possibility of it, but it looks like it's going to happen. And it all really would come down for Byron with those 3 points that really should have taken a grip on, especially that game against Mullumbimby. And then there's also that game where I mentioned a couple of times, the game against Coogin. So it's now looking like, so that would put Coogin into 4th. So that would be going to Coogin v Tweed if that's going to eventuate as it is.
So it'll be a replica of today.
Absolutely.
It'll be on again.
Absolutely. We'll be looking forward to being there for it.
I think we saw that last year in the NRL, Penrith and Manly. Here goes Krause.
So that's Krause. He's just held off the mark. And they're just inside 40. Once we get that last update up at Tweed, we'll beam it to you.
So as it stands right now, at 24 all, the Bay will miss the finals.
Absolutely. That's plain stone cold as it is. So this is Batiste. Montgomery. That's Hines. Hines, he's looking for a big pass out to Brad Lees, and that's just gone over the carpet. And this will be a scrum feed to Ballina, and there's about just 10.5 minutes left to go on this one here at Red Devil Park.
Okay, we'll eagerly awaiting some messages up there. Yeah, I think might have been last year, year before, Penrith played Manly in the last round, and they had to play each other again the following week, and I think the tables were turned. So if that's the case, it'll be interesting to see what happens here next week.
So as the scrum feed goes down, Jamie Lyon is a play at 10 metres out. Trust you join the coverage round there. Be watching where leaving, as you can see there, 32 to 10. Ballina over Byron on the Ladbrokes scoreboard. And what a way to wrap up the regular season of 2019 Crossy right to the end. That's what you want to see. But in Byron Bay's case, they had a 24 point cushion, and they just had to climb almost mission impossible in their eyes when you have with the likes of Ballina losing 10 of the last 11 against them.
Yeah, it was always going to be a tough ask, and obviously down on a few troops. So we're waiting some more messages here. We're getting close at that Raiders Coogin Hornets game. We might have something through here, do we?
No, that one's so. No, that's not the one that we wanted to look at. We want the full-time score, which you'd think it'd be full-time now. So we should get it within the next minute or two. So what's happened out of all this? That's going to be taken up there. I think that's Lachlan Kennedy just held it inside 40, and he's going to be put in the touch. So actually, hang on, that's going to be a scrum feed to Byron.
It might even be a penalty.
I think he has caught a penalty.
Tell you what, these Kennedy boys, mate, they do not stop trying. They're absolute goers, and they've had a big year here for the Bay. If it turns out today's their last day, they can be really happy with the season that they've had.
And you'd think the way that Byron have been playing, in all fairness, we've said it a couple of months ago, we thought it might have been, it was going to be beyond Byron, but then they probably still might, depending on that result up there. They might have, talked us out of it a bit there. But I remember we were covering that game against Northern United and Tweed Coast, and we were like, I don't think Byron are going to feature, but they certainly gone well and beyond. They went on quite such a run, so it would be unfortunate for them if they at least didn't get the feature in the final and see what B would be. But it's just been one of those years for Byron Bay.
It has. It's sort of been like that. It's typical of the last sort of 2 or 3 years. It's had so much promise, but with injuries, and we've got a penalty here for the Bay. A few things just sort of haven't transpired the way they would have hoped. So they've got the team to do some real damage in this final series, but depending on what's happening at Coogin, they may not even get that opportunity.
So as it stands going into this one, so Coogin and Byron were on 21 points. Tweed were on 20. So Tweed with a superior for and against at 21 would go over Byron's for and against of what it is at the moment. And they'll finish the same on 21, whilst 22 points would see Coogin get the hosting rights if that is what it's going to eventuate. So this is Batiste. Goes over, and Batiste gets himself one on the score sheet against his ex-club. And now that's making the score 32-14.
Okay, so that'll be 32-16, and we're eagerly awaiting news through from Coogin. We're still looking here at the moment. So, but anyway, good work from Batiste there. He never clocked off. He went right, nothing doing. He ducked back around to the left and found his way over and got sort of 4 points for his team. So we don't know if that will now be irrelevant, but we are eagerly awaiting.
Wow. So as I said to Michael Shaw last week, that game Ballina at Tweed goes, we've got more number crunching and more numbers than an election coverage.
You should try to force your way into one of them shows when the elections are on.
Mate, Yeah, well, let's put it this way. I need a summer job.
Yeah,
I'll
that's,
wait for what I normally do. So the kick goes over.
that's your go, I reckon. I'd like to see you maybe.
But we've already had an election, so
Yeah, just next time, maybe ABC, crunching some numbers, giving you a viewpoint.
So 32-16, Ballina still in front here at Red Devil Park here in Byron Bay.
Okay, mate, so what do we? We've got 6.5 minutes to go. Ballina obviously in no rush to get things back underway. Their regular season is done now. They just want to make sure they get through these next 6 minutes injury-free and, yeah, with no one sort of being put on report or anything like that. So congratulations to Jamie Lyon. I know speaking with him in the off-season, it was sort of coming back to country footy is always hard, particularly as a high-profile name such as Killer is. And he was really keen to sort of make sure that he went out and played well and sort of did well for the club.
Crossy,
So,
I'll just have to cut you off. The phone is lit up. And no, so sorry, false alarm. Keep going.
gee, that was a big, yeah, lead into nothing. But
Yeah.
just further that. So
Sorry, Crossy.
no, I just want to congratulate Killer on the job he's done there at Ballina. It's sort of, never easy to sort of go into a team that's just had such success, you know, making grand finals year after year, and here they are, they're 4 points clear at the top of the table, and well done.
So Batiste goes for a run. He'd love to get a double against his old team. He's featured in many grand finals over the course of the year for the Ballina Seagulls. He'll play this one just shy halfway. And referee's called time there for
I think Kennedy's.
one of the Byron players is down there. Ballina player.
Oh, sorry, it's further down. Yeah, Ballina player, which will hopefully give us a bit of time to get a message through from Coogin from Nedburn Field.
The phone hasn't lit up yet, Crossy.
Ah.
Well, so we take this chance to thank Ladbrokes for getting on board for their first year of the NRRRL competition for 2019, and of course, sponsors of the Mark Goff Media stream.
So we've got Mitch Craig in the box here from the Northern Star, and he's just confirmed.
So we've just received the news. It is a draw up at Coogin and Tweed Coast. That means unless Byron Bay get 16 points, that is good night, Irene, for the Byron Bay Red Devils.
So that's the worst possible result for the Bay, unfortunately.
And we were just talking about it. We think unlikely when draws are happening, but it's happened.
And mate, it kind of sums up their day, doesn't it? Like, you know, the things that haven't gone right here and hasn't gone right for them up there. So as we see,
so this is Beach. Sorry, no, that was Beecher there, Crossy. He was so just inside 40. And as we're in the last 5 minutes here, so they need I've made so many references to this. They need a Kyle Turkey 7 to Northern United, so 16 points in 5 minutes. You can just hear that.
Yeah, some disappointment around.
So
Red
Byron are
Devil
going to
Park.
have to wait, by the looks of it, another 12 months to feature in the finals.
At least they're trending in the right direction. So hopefully Todd Carney's here again, back again next year. They can keep the bulk of this side. And so he's signed for 3 years here apparently. So that's great. He's done a great thing for the club. He's generated a lot of interest, which is fantastic. So well done to Todd Carney for sort of coming back and helping grassroots footy. And he's done a great job. Well done.
So this is now going to be played into the hands of, that's Jamie Lyon. Lyon into Michael Dwayne. He's just met there by his ex-Ballina Seagulls teammates in Dylan Montgomery.
We've got big numbers left here.
So this is Beecher, goes himself, and that's going to be Liam Anderson straight under the dots. And going to put injury to the insult today for the Byron Bay Red Devils at 36-16.
Yeah, that was a little bit soft, wasn't it, unfortunately? And probably a lot of blokes from the Bay just watching the clock and looking at the scoreline. And
which is now, unfortunately for them, irrelevant.
Yeah, so that's the season done for the Bay this year, and a good positive finish to the season proper for the Ballina Seagulls. So Nev, I suppose as we move forward, knowing the makeup of the semis now, mate, who's your smoky for the semi-finals?
I'm going to say Coogin. I really think Coogin. Coogin are one of those teams that, that whilst, they've been iffy in some games, but you got to look back to that win they had a couple of weeks ago against Mullumbimby Mustangs, like in the last play of the game. and which, and that too was what has kept them in the hunt for this too. Because without that, they would have been out on their feet too. So they needed that win against Moolumbar, and they got it. And I think they're going to reflect back on that that's what they're capable of. So I'd say Coogin, but when you look at results, what Moolumbar inflicted today, well, 70-0, and which that was probably halfway through the second half. You'd say on a safe bet you could look at like a Ballina Moolumbar grand final, and they're featured in a couple of them already. So,
That's
but
right.
I'd think, and I was asked this last week, I think Ballina and maybe a smoky like Coogin.
It'll be interesting. I mean, without knowing what players Tweed Coast Raiders have got back, or if they're due to get anyone else back next week, I mean, we're talking about the premiers here, so you never know what they're capable of. Regan, he's got spiders on him. They can't tackle him.
So he's brought down there about 20, 30 metres away. So this is going to be taken up here by I think that's Hayden Hanson, just inside 40. So this is going to be not. Who's that there, Crossy? I think
That's Michael Coleman. Good carry.
Yeah, good run there. He was carrying an injury just before. Like I think it was like in the some point in the first half. So this is going to be. I think that's Raymond Buchanan. He's got Reece Riches there, and he's just going to be held off there, 25 metres away now from the Byron Bay line. Riches. That's into the hands of Durheim. Durheim to Line into the hands of Perry. That's Coleman. He would like to get on the score sheet today. I think that's Kel Shiva, and I just lost that one for Kel Shiva.
Yeah, he probably like his time again there, Coleman, and probably passed a bit earlier. Tell you what, they're just playing sideline to sideline, aren't they, the Seagulls? And really impressed with the passing game of Jack Durham for the right edge back rower here for the Seagulls. He's known for his obviously no-nonsense approach and work ethic, but geez, he can use the football. He threw a couple of really nice long passes there.
So Tweed Coast, that keeps them still. Well, they're not exactly going to enjoy that class now where they win a grand final and then have to bow out in the next season. So they'll finish in 5th, I believe, because Byron and Tweed are on the same points at 21, but Tweed had the better for and against going into this one, which sees Byron out the back door.
Okay, and Coogin will finish obviously a point
At
ahead of them. Yeah.
So that would be the makeup. Coogin v Tweed Coast next Saturday at Coogin, and then Wollumbar will host against Casino on the Sunday.
Well, that'll be a cracker next Saturday, won't it? Tweed Coast and Coogin. They've played all their cards today, so each club will know what to expect from their opponent.
I think that's a nasty injury. I think that's Guy Hines. He's he's writhing in pain there.
He looks like he's in a lot of pain. So I think, he's looking at it, could be ACL. Yeah.
Jeez.
I know, he's getting up now.
I think he's trying to put a bit of a brave front. He can't put any weight on that leg crosser.
I've been impressed with him. He's a goer, Guy Hines. He's
Absolutely.
yeah.
So Byron now literally playing for pride. That is so much promise to be playing in their final series. The first one since 2014. It's going to have to wait another year, unfortunately, for the Byron Bay Red Devils. They'll just wind down the clock. And you can just see a contingent of fans on our side now have just head out the turnstiles.
Starting to thin out, isn't it, now? It's obviously the game's done. And what have we got? We've got 15 seconds here. So
this will be the last play you'd think for Byron Bay to get anything done. This will be Oliver Regan. He's not going to waste too much time. They're just going to drown down this clock. Both teams are done for the day, and unfortunately for Byron Bay's case, that is done for 2019 with the results, which you wouldn't think. I mean, you'd say there's got to be a winner, but you'd think it's just gone from bad to worse, and couldn't get any worse for that result up north. But I also see, Crossy, like when you start relying on results, that's when you know that you're going to get yourself undone.
yeah, that's right. When you put yourselves in those positions, it's yep, you're in the lap of the gods, as they say. So not to be this year for the Red Devils. They've had another up and down season, but at least that they're trending in the right direction. And like I said before, let's hope the bulk of that squad can stick around and play back here in 2020.
So just to reiterate, Tweed Tweed Coast and Coogin had a 24-all draw from what we've received here, which then puts that Coogin, which were on 21, up to 22, which will put them in 4th. Tweed, which were on 20 points, will go to 21. Byron still remain on 21, but it all comes down to that for and against. Tweeds were already better than Byron's going into this game, so that would have been irrelevant. So that pushes Byron out the exits for 2019. In the case of Moolumbar Casino, Moolumbar had a massive win up there. Last time we checked, 70-0, but nevertheless, that puts them hosting Rights Over Casino next Sunday. Ballina, of course, will have the week off.
You got any early tips for those 2 games next week?
Oh, geez, if that's going to be anything like that, 24-0, and let's put it this way, I think Michael Shaw is going to be calling that one on the Saturday, so we said also, yeah, he gets the closer game, the lopsided one, so...
I haven't called a tight one all year, I don't think.
Yeah, so based on that, based on the results we know, it'll be close.
Yeah, I think Sunday would be hard to go past Moolumbar. I don't know. Casino looked good at the start of the year, and I don't know.
They've been winning. They've had by far the easiest passage in it. They had the bye today. They only just got up over Evans Head last week by 4 points. And in the game that we covered, their last one against Morris Brothers the week before that, where Morris Brothers were second last, Morris Brothers were in the game for a big portion of it, if not the better team.
Yeah, and Moolumbar at home are very clinical, so I think, they'll be, Casino will have to have come with all their tricks and best sort of set to 6, completing, doing all those little things right that sort of get the points there next week.
But just to reiterate, Casino did beat Moolumbar in their lone game. They played 22-20 this year too, at Moolumbar too. So
yeah, well there you go. That's a huge confidence booster for them. So good luck to the Cougars and the Mustangs next Sunday.
And that's where you and I will be next Sunday as well. So
can't wait.
Bring on the finals, Crossy. I hope it's just as good as last year.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, and really looking forward to the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Can't wait for it. So that wraps up today's match here for round 18 and the regular season for 2019. Byron Bay under 8, just having every bit of misfortune not to get the job done today, but also that one thing of a draw. So 22 points. They came in with 22 points differential. 22 points is all the margin was today, but that draw up at the Tweed has sent them packing. It's full time here at Red Devil Park. It is Byron Bay Red Devil 16 to the Ballina Seagulls 38. For the team from Markoff Media and NRRRL, Nathan Cross on Dwayne Neville. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing you the regular season for 2019. Bring on the finals for next week. We'll see you next Saturday.